My career began in 1962 when I was hired into North American Aviation in El Segundo. My first job was working in the laboratory over there. It was called the Product Development Laboratory. But then in 1964, the government canceled the B-70 contract. We were fortunate in that North American had also been bidding on the prime contract for the Apollo program. And so I came over to the Downey plant, and with my background, it seemed to be a fit, and so I hired in and began working on the Apollo program in 1964. As I started on the Apollo program, I was part of a group known as Advanced Technical Personnel. I worked a lot in the laboratories. We were developing some new technologies. About this time, I actually transitioned as a member of the technical staff. So I was one of the engineers working on Apollo. It was a job, but it was more than a job. When President Kennedy made this commitment to go to the moon, we accepted that commitment and that challenge. For myself and many of my friends, it was refreshing to be working in a program that was not building weapon systems. What we gained was hope for a future. So that was the master plan. Everybody was part of this Apollo family. It's like all of us have learned one time or another, the tougher the problem, once you solve it, the greater the reward. When Neil and Buzz and Michael are up there, there is no question that we were with them. When Neil stepped down that ladder and put his boot print on the moon, it wasn't just his foot. Our foot was in that boot with him. We all shared in that. There were 400,000 people involved in putting those men on the moon, and I was proud to be one of them. When the greatest generation came back from overseas, their mantra was, "Can do." And I think that's something we need to think about for today. I think the first message I would like to share with the younger generations. Many years ago, something magical happened here, and that story needs to be told over and over again. Learn about that story. Talk with people like myself. Let us share those experiences. Respect your heritage, your history. Read about it, learn about it. If people are still around who are witness to it, spend some time with it. The one thing that we all learn as we grow older is how remiss we all are in not spending more time with our parents, talking to them to understand about our family, our heritage, and where we came from. Embrace your past, because it is your future. People ask, what kind of benefits did we get from spending all that money to put these men on the moon? Apollo gave me a wonderful family. It gave me a life. I am but one of the 400,000 stories of families that were created and born of the Apollo program. The cost of the program in dollars is minuscule. The real cost of the Apollo program were 3 astronauts who died on Apollo 1. There were the broken marriages because of the long hours and the people who were traveling all the time. There were the people who died in the program because of stress. The stress was so great sometimes, heart attacks were not uncommon. Missed vacations, missed graduations, missed ball games, missed family. All of those are costs. For myself personally, one of the costs was during a test we were doing right here at Downey, a pressure gauge exploded in my face, and it took my right eye, and I've been blind since. Now, it was an accident, of course, but these are the costs for a program like this. In my office here at Downey, during the Apollo program and the shuttle program, I had a sign up on my wall, and the sign was a quote from one of my favorite poets, Robert Frost. And that quote was, "The people I want to hear about are the ones who take risk." All of us took a risk. This nation took a risk. Our president took a risk when we made that commitment for the moon. Do not be afraid to take a risk, and look to the path less traveled, because you may find a better future there. At the beginning of the 20th century, we didn't even have flying machines. And yet by the end of the 20th century, we had put men on the moon. We are almost completing the first quarter of a century. The 21st century is still being written. The main component of that future is technology. It's about being part of the technology revolution so that it works for us and not against us.